And just like that, the boys are back. Matt, Jack, and Brian recording on a Sunday evening here for Views from Section 400. Happy daylight savings, everybody. The days are longer.
Dude, that caught me off guard this morning. I woke up and I was like, why do I feel like shit? And I was like, oh, didn't get an extra hour.
That's exactly how I felt so poor this morning.
It was terrible.
It caught, I think, a lot of people off guard. I was not ready for it. It is nice to be recording and have some daylight in our background. So happy daylight savings to everybody. We still have all the action here at Views from Section 400. Some NFL news seemingly will just never go away, regardless of what month we're in. College basketball, it's March, right when daylight savings happens. It really feels like March Madness is here. Brian is a George Mason stan out of nowhere.
Eddie Johnson.
Michael, oh, that's true. I guess so. Not really too much out of nowhere. But,
War Eagle.
War Eagle.
There's a connection there. I'll give you that. Michael of the Week is here to stay. NL West preview. We wrap up our division previews. I think we wrap it up, right?
Yeah, this is it.
We don't have any more to do besides the NL West.
No, I mean, we could do some KBO divisions if you really want to.
We're good on that. We'll get into all the action here in just a second. Take a listen to our guys from SeatGeek.
Ladies and gentlemen, the best month on the sports calendar is finally here. Say it with me. This is March. And the only place to go for every NCAA tournament game is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Views from Section 400 podcast. We love SeatGeek. We use it every time we buy tickets. The best part, if you're a first-time user, use code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout. That's VIEWSFROM400 at checkout for $20 off your first purchase. That's a free beer on us, a free popcorn, a free hot dog. If you're going to Mercedes-Benz Superdome, it might be like a free 5 meals for you and your family. Not Citi Field, unfortunately. But hey, $20 off your first purchase. Views from 400 for every NCAA tournament game. Hopefully you're watching Auburn in the Sweet 16, Final Four, Elite Eight, and eventually the Natty. Maybe some spring training baseball too. Code Views from 400. SeatGeek, your best night ever is waiting.
All right, we're back. NFL, some news happened. Like I said, seemingly never goes away. Kind of a random trade. Geno Smith, who, we all know rejuvenated his career. And I won't say is an elite quarterback, but probably a top 15 quarterback or hovers around 15.
I believe I put him ahead of Trevor Lawrence when I was ranting about Trevor Lawrence.
You did. You absolutely did. It was tough getting through that list. Jack did not let you get through it. But either way, a solid guy. He was worth a third-round pick in the Raiders' eyes because he got traded to the Raiders and will now be the Raiders' starting quarterback for the foreseeable future. We know Pete Carroll just got hired there, so a small connection to reunite them down there in Vegas. Is this a monumental milestone move to make the Raiders Super Bowl contenders? Probably not, but I think more competitive games and a season will be in their cards. So, yeah, what does this mean for DK in Seattle? I have no idea. I gave you guys my predictions on where he will go next year or this upcoming year, but Raiders get a guy. DK Metcalf wants out of Seattle, and, Seattle could now be the laughingstock of the NFL.
Yeah, AOC just keeps losing in Nevada. Maybe DK likes Sam Darnold's ball. I told you he throws a good ball, and if the Seahawks go after Sam Darnold, maybe it makes DK stay.
I don't understand this move by Seattle. Getting a third-round pick, losing your quarterback. I mean, if you're really going to just try and get what you can for him, sure. Go move on to a Darnold or a Rodgers, whoever it might be, although I don't think Rodgers would really fit up there in Seattle with all them folks. But I just a third-round pick for a franchise quarterback, don't get me wrong, he's not better than Trevor Lawrence, but he's a franchise quarterback. And to get one of those for a third-round pick, I don't care how many years you're going to be able to have them, just to get a third-round pick is awesome for Vegas. This is awesome for them too, because as much as I love Gardner Minshew, they have been such a joke of a team without a quarterback for the past few seasons. This instantly makes them, watchable.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, we saw what Geno did with great weapons, and I don't think the Raiders have even good weapons. for him
Brock
to
Bowers.
and Brock Bowers. I guess Brock Bowers kind of, but he had JSN, he had Tyler Lockett, he had DK, and they still weren't really able to win anything.
So here's my philosophy, or I guess thought process on this, and it's the same way I had. And again, not to always bring Daniel Jones up somehow or the Giants up somehow, but it's the same way the Giants, like I always said for all these years, Daniel Jones was never going to win anything. And Geno Smith might be better than Daniel Jones, but I don't think Geno Smith is good enough to win anything and good enough to win a Super Bowl. Now, sure, maybe you can put talent around him, maybe, but I think the ownership understood, okay, DK doesn't want to be here. We're moving on from Lockett. We have a brand new head coach, and we're probably never going to win a Super Bowl with Geno Smith. Some really good owners and GMs can see that. They can put the blind faith aside and not just trust a guy to trust a guy and say we're in love with the guy to be in love with the guy. And they said, let's understand. Let's enter the rebuild. We're not going to win with Geno Smith. As much as we might love the guy, the fans love him, this move's not going to make any sense. We'll be competitive with Geno Smith. Sure, great. They're not going to win a Super Bowl with him. So they not struck the iron while it's hot, but they said, hey, DK wants out. Lockett's gone. Let's get rid of Geno Smith and cash in on him while we can as well. They unload the contract, and I think they just enter maybe a lengthy rebuild. And, that's what happens there. So that's my thought process on that. I think the ownership group, the GM group, they just realized, hey, we're probably not going to win with this guy. We might be competitive, but an average 500 football team is about, I think, the ceiling for Geno Smith. Maybe one or two games above 500, but that's really all I see Geno Smith has with the Seahawks, and maybe the ownership and GM saw it as well.
Yeah,
If you put Geno Smith on that Eagles team, do they win the Super Bowl last year?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think they have a shot.
I think they have a shot, but I don't think so.
Yeah,
You seem to think they do, Jack.
I do.
I think they win one or two less games in the regular season, and then they still beat the Commanders. They probably still beat the Packers. And considering how that defense played in the Super Bowl, they probably beat the Chiefs too. So maybe they do.
Maybe they do. Yeah, I mean that's
I
tough.
guess the point I'm trying to make is I think Geno Smith is a good enough quarterback if you put the right pieces around him. But that defense failed them multiple times last year. I think coaching failed them multiple times last year. The O-line certainly wasn't impressive. So I don't know. I just think that Geno Smith is all I'm saying. I think he's worth a lot more than a third-round pick. I think the Raiders got a steal here.
Yeah, and like I said, I just don't think the ownership or GM saw him be. I mean, they had the talent. You're absolutely right. That defense was brutal, but he had the talent.
So let me ask you this. Now the Seahawks are left with Sam Howell, GOAT.
Yeah, he led the league in passing at one point in time.
I wouldn't bring this guy up in front of Brian, dude. You're going to get a totally biased reaction.
No, I was about to say, to Geno Smith's credit, when Sam Howell was in there last year, the Seahawks looked like absolute dog water. And when Geno Smith was in, they at least looked competent.
So they have Sam Howell and the 18th overall pick. What direction do they go with? I think
it's a lengthy rebuild. They're clearing house. They have the new head coach, and
dude, you gotta get rid of this thing.
I don't know how.
What the fuck just happened?
Jack's stupid note taker joins the meeting at 7:00, and I don't let it.
Oh my gosh, that's such a joke.
Yeah, I'm keeping that as a blooper.
Oh, so we're good?
Yes.
Yeah, I slightly lost my train of thought.
Sam Howell.
Yeah, we're talking about Sam Howell.
What are they gonna? We're just saying what is Seattle gonna do?
I said they're entering a lengthy rebuild. They got Geno Smith. DK wants out. Lockett's gone. You have Jackson Smith and Jigba, a bad O-line, a bad defense, and entering a second year with a brand new, fresh, young head coach. It's rebuild time in Seattle. Yeah, they weren't going to win with Geno, and sure, if you put him on the Eagles, did he have a shot? Sure, but he's not on the Eagles. He's on the Seahawks, who aren't going to win.
I'm looking him up right now. Whoever the Seahawks general manager is, John Schneider. listen to me and listen to me clear. Trade up for the 3 pick. Give the Giants the 18, JSN and Sam Howell.
For what?
Let's do it.
Oh, for the pick?
Yeah, and go draft Cam Ward or Shador and give me Sam Howell and JSN.
Well, we and again, Geno Smith to the Raiders. Okay, done deal. That's what's happening. That's who we're going to see command the Raiders. Who, oh, by the way, have Chip Kelly as an offensive coordinator, so a weapon for Chip Kelly, who's now back in the NFL. But let's kind of bring the Giants into this, as we always somehow find to do. The Giants are now the leading favorites to sign Aaron Rodgers.
I don't want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, we have to talk about it because they are a heavy favorite. And sure, that doesn't mean a lot, but somebody knows something. Somebody's talking about something, and it's clearly gaining traction that Aaron Rodgers is not out of New York, New Jersey, whatever you want to call it. He's not out of Jet Life, and he's got to go play for the blue team in New York.
I'm not even as concerned about the Aaron Rodgers part as I am. If Aaron Rodgers goes there, he's going to bring Davante Adams. And we saw what happened to Garrett Wilson when Davante Adams was there. Malik Neighbors is already calling for the ball. He's going to throw fit after fit. Odell punched a net. He might throw a net into the crowd, throw one at Aaron Rodgers, throw one at Davante Adams, and I wouldn't blame him. Just get them off of my team. I don't want them any near.
Malik Neighbors has a way bigger personality than Garrett Wilson, so that will not go unnoticed. A little bit of A.J. Brown dramatic style from Malik Neighbors that we see, that will be a shit show, and that's probably the last thing you want to do with that organization. And to be quite frank, I don't want to deal with fucking Aaron Rodgers in the NFC East. I really don't. I don't need that guy's drama and antics and him somehow magically becoming good again and just being annoying in the NFC. Like, I just don't even want to deal with it. Stay in the AFC.
It'd be terrible for both of us because if Aaron Rodgers goes there, he's going to find a way to win like 7 games and probably beat the Eagles in one of them.
It's going to be annoying.
And it's going to annoy me because they're not going to be bad enough to rebuild. And it's going to annoy you because they're going to be annoying enough to where you can't just write them off.
Right.
It's the worst case scenario for this podcast. Except Jack will probably have a good time.
Now, for what it's worth, I've got some my NFL, my Giants insider said that the Aaron Rodgers deal is cooked.
All right. Well,
how sourceful is your Giants insider?
Reliable information.
Okay. All right. Well, he is the favorite, but Jack's got a guy who says that that's not happening.
Breaking news, Davante Adams just signed with the Los Angeles Rams.
There we go.
Okay.
So Davante Adams will not be – he'll play for a blue team next year, but it won't be the New York Giants, Brian.
And it won't be with Aaron Rodgers.
Or Rodgers at that fact, but it's still an old quarterback.
Yeah, that's an interesting offense now, especially if they keep Kupp.
I don't think they'll keep Kupp. I think this means Kupp's definitely out the door now.
I think Kupp's gone now. It'll be Davante Adams, Puka Nacua, and we talked all this jib-jab about what are the Rams going to do, and there's no rebuild in sight, man. I mean, they're going for it again.
They're going for it. I mean, this wouldn't be the first time we've seen McVay have 3, I would say good wide receivers if he was somehow able to keep Kupp around. But
and to be fair, they got to the divisional round this year, so it's probably a stretch to say, rebuild.
Oh, that's the team I forgot. Yeah, no, the Rams win that game if Geno Smith is quarterbacking the Eagles.
You think so?
Yeah, that's the one that
it was a closer game. The Rams had a shot. They were driving down the field at the end of that game. The defense stepped up and played huge. Hurts had a 60-yard touchdown run on one of the first plays of the game. Does Geno Smith do that on the first play of the game?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Probably not.
Yeah, I was gonna say because Hurts didn't have a great game as a passer, but I don't think Geno would have had a great game as a passer.
He set the tone on the first drive with the 60-yard touchdown run, breaking tackles, doing elite things. So, I agree there. I kind of forgot about that game. Yeah, Geno Smith could have been a little rattled in that one.
They do not win that game.
Yeah. So, Jack, any rebuttal there?
No, man. I think Jalen Hurts is just getting blessed right now.
Yeah, I know you're not a Hurts guy and you're a Hurts hater, and that's fine. But
I'm not a Hurts hater. I'm not a Hurts hater.
He admitted he was top 5.
I'm a fan. I just think that he's a little overrated by some means for sure.
That's fine. I will take overrated and Super Bowl MVP in the same sentence. But we have to get it's what it is. But to jump
I only
off,
said one of those things, but whatever.
well, he's both
I think
overrated and Super Bowl champ. No,
we did this like last summer where we compared
That's
cross-sport athletes. I think now it makes the most sense as ever. Jalen Hurts is Jason Tatum. He's never going to get respected, but he has a title. And he always like puts up numbers, but he's never going to get respected by the national media.
I think that's fair comp. I think Tatum's. I don't know.
Tatum definitely wants to be respected more than Hurts does. I don't think Hurts cares
Yeah,
at
I don't
all.
think Hurts cares
Yeah.
about the hate. Tatum lets the media get to him.
Yeah, but besides that, I think it's very similar.
Hurts is likable.
Hurts a likable
true,
guy,
too.
and he doesn't care about the noise, like you said. Like people rip on this guy in the national media, on this podcast. He gets killed.
Are we not the national media?
Well, we're media, but either way, he gets killed, and he doesn't care. He doesn't listen to the noise, and money's cool. Championships are better, I think, is what he said. So
Not to Myles Garrett.
not to Myles Garrett, and that was just a song and dance we saw Myles Garrett. I'm glad you brought that up because we do have to get to that. Cleveland Browns re-signed Myles Garrett. I don't know how many years or what the total money, but it's going to be $40 million a year, which is nuts for a defensive end.
Most ever by a non-quarterback.
Yeah, and for whatever that's worth, I mean, we'll see. That'll be a new thing every year. You'll have most ever non-quarterback every single year. You'll get that, but for right now, sure.
Yeah, I think it was something like $100 million guaranteed over the next 3 years.
122.8 million guaranteed.
So it's just an extension, right?
Yes.
Because he was still under contract, requested the trade. They worked something out where they said, hey, Myles Garrett's going to come back. We'll extend him. We'll give him an ungodly amount of money. And they don't even have a quarterback.
Nope.
But they're paying a defensive end like one.
Well, now he'll be rich in Cleveland and get to get
all signs point to the Browns drafting a quarterback this year.
Yeah.
They have to. You can't sign anybody. Quarterbacks are expensive in the NFL. You have to go get a rookie quarterback and let him play on the rookie deal for the next couple of years while Myles Garrett eats up your entire salary cap.
Yeah, I think I saw something that Deshaun Watson had a setback on his road to recovery.
I don't even listen. That guy doesn't exist to me, dude. There's just that guy's fake.
Yeah, I think Browns fans wish he didn't exist too.
Yeah, for real. But either way, Myles Garrett will be back, and I'm just glad didn't go to the Cowboys or another NFC East team. Commanders would have been really annoying. I know Brian would have loved that since he's a Commander fan, but yeah,
I would have liked it because it wasn't the Eagles. I was really just scared of the Eagles.
Yeah, and I thought there was a chance. I wasn't confident they were going to get him because I knew it would have taken a lot, and I know how he doesn't do those. He makes moves, and I didn't even think he was going to get Saquon Barkley. But look, we didn't really give anything up for Barkley. There would have been a give-up factor for Myles Garrett, and that's why I wasn't as confident in them. There was conversation, and maybe it was just media agent-fueled hype saying, oh, the Eagles might get Garrett to drive the price up for the Browns to re-sign the guy or whatever to make sure he doesn't go to the Eagles. But, yeah, Myles Garrett staying in Cleveland. He could be rich in Cleveland. And what do the Browns win next year? 6 games? If they're lucky?
Depends who's playing quarterback.
That's their ceiling. 6
I'm taking
games.
the under.
And they'll have the Bengals and Ravens to deal with. The Steelers will still be tough, even though they're kind of a shit show right now. It's a tough division. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's only 4 games they get next year. And again, all depend on the quarterback and what wide receiver do they have?
Amari Cooper's a free agent.
Actually,
no,
I
was gonna say they traded him away. He's a free agent too.
Who was my guy I picked up in fantasy?
He could be reunited with them.
Yeah, maybe.
But who's on?
DK goes. They
Cedric Tillman. That's the guy. They got Cedric
that's the
Tillman.
guy you like. Yeah.
Oh, Judy.
With that guy.
Judy had a good year.
He had a decent year. Yeah, he had a good second half of the season for sure.
Is he a needle moving wide receiver?
No, but he's a guy.
No.
He's a solid receiver.
And then they also had that guy from the Jets, Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do they get DK? DK's not going to want to go there. Nobody wants he's not going to want to go play there. That seems like a shit organization to go play for. Even the color of the jersey is just shit.
Yeah, bro, who wants to go to Cleveland?
Nobody besides Donovan Mitchell.
LeBron.
LeBron, yeah. Those guys.
He's from Cleveland. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Hey, if the money's right, anybody will say Garrett, Myles Garrett is a prime example of that. But another quick story here in the NFL before we wrap it up. Aaron Jones re-signs with the Vikings, stays in the NFC North, doesn't go back to the Packers, but remains with the Vikings, who, as of right now, still don't have the quarterback room or starting quarterback situated. Did they re-sign Darnold? Are they going to go with J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah,
I guess they have the running back figured out.
I think they're just going to try to run it with McCarthy.
Yeah, Darnold. It still looks like Darnold might be going somewhere else, like you guys are saying, maybe Seattle.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't signed yet, right? Like, he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. We just saw him do it for a year. Sure, the playoffs didn't work out for them, but this is a guy who needs to figure out a job, bro. Like, we're already into March. OTAs, spring practices start very soon. The quarterback's the most important position on the field, and Sam Darnold's still unemployed.
Yeah, I think
Brian, do you think there's a shot he goes to your Giants?
no. I hope not. I think it's more Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins are kind of doing the Spider-Man meme, and front offices don't know which one to take, and whichever one goes
problem
first, another one will take.
Is Sam Darnold played so well that I don't think a team wants to pay him what his market now is. Like he
Yeah.
was, we were, for week 5 calling this guy potential NFL MVP, and maybe we were just a little blinded by who this guy really is. But he was putting up the numbers. Sure, he had Justin Jefferson and the dude from Ole Miss who I'm blanking on, but
Jordan Addison.
Jordan Addison, he had some weapons there. Aaron Jones, who's a good pass catcher out of the backfield. He played really well now there's a market for him that I don't think teams want to go all in on. Who would you rather start your franchise with today, Sam Darnold or Kirk Cousins? I'd probably say neither for what the price tag is.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely neither. Neither of them are going to win your playoff games, but
right.
Yeah, neither.
If you had to pick one,
if you had to pick one though, you're going to go Darnold. He's a little bit younger.
I think NFL franchises are still looking at Daniel Jones too and saying, do we just want to pay Daniel Jones less money to maybe be Sam Darnold?
To just be a game manager, right?
So it's
I agree.
A mess.
It's a total mess, but hey, they didn't figure out the quarterback position, but Aaron Jones back in the Vikings. What does this do for them?
It'll be fun in fantasy.
It'll be fun in fantasy, and is this a team that's gonna? The Lions are there, the Bears now with Ben Johnson and seemingly better offense and still a loaded defense. I'm not scared of the Vikings. I'm just not.
I'm not either.
They don't have an elite quarterback. Like Sam Darnold, we saw it was fun. It was cool. J.J. McCarthy doesn't scare me either.
We haven't really seen him do anything yet. So, yeah, he definitely doesn't scare anybody.
He's just a guy who I don't think will be that successful in the NFL, but Brian thinks he's going to be great.
No, I was just going to say he scared us during our Washington Future live stream. That was very sad. So, yeah, he's a winner. I'll give him that.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was pre-ACL. That was, a whole other uniform, whole other league.
Yeah, it really was. So we'll wait and see. They clear up the running back position and shore up with Aaron Jones, who is getting older as well. We'll see what kind of fall off he might have. And still no quarterback. So that's the Vikings. And I'm sure by the time we get to the Wednesday show, Thursday show, we will have more news somehow as Davante Adams breaking news on us as we're recording this. But I think that's all we have on the NFL, unless Brian has any other stories. Jack, you have any other stories? But maybe we should jump into some college basketball.
College basketball has been on my mind. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. And, again, we're in that lull period where it's the low majors. We have some tickets punched. This week will really ramp up with the conference tournaments. And then, obviously, it just go 0-100 with Selection Sunday. Some teams already have their tickets punched, as we said. Brian, you want to bring some of them up and we can do a quick preview on them, or I don't know how you want to discuss some of these teams.
Yeah, so far on our bracketology, just trying to predict these qualifiers. Matt, you are 4 for 5. I'm 3 for 5. We'll get to the Lipscomb North Alabama game. That was very sad for me. I'm sure you were very happy watching that. But the first team to clinch a bid was SIUE, and that's the one we got wrong. We had SEMO out of this conference, and if SEMO won that game, it would probably be more exciting. SIUE is probably going to be a 15-16 seed. It's their first ever trip to March Madness, so hopefully for them, they get to the first 4 with a chance to win an NCAA tournament game. Rayshawn Taylor is a guard, 19 points per game. He's kind of cool, but they're not going to upset anybody, I don't think.
Yeah, it's a team that's they're down by 25 at halftime to a 2 or 1 seed, depending on what they get. I don't have very high aspirations for SIE, whatever Edwardsville.
Yeah, also another team like that, Omaha, who we've had in our first 4 pretty much all season, I think. Mainly because
as a 16 seed. Yeah.
As a 16 seed, which is probably where they're going to be. They're playing the Summit Championship as we're recording this against St. Thomas, who is in their last year of ineligibility, unfortunately, because if they were in the tournament, we might be looking at them as like a sneaky 14 seed.
Yeah, they'd be a fun Cinderella team, St. Thomas. The Tommies out of Minnesota. Sucks that they get I guess they call it grace period, where they go to Division I. They used to run D2, like national championship galore.
D3.
Were they D3?
D3, yeah.
Either way, they ran whatever division they were in that wasn't D1. Finally jump up to D1 and seemingly still running. I mean, the Summit League isn't, it's a mid-major, maybe a little bit lower than a mid-major, but it's still a mid-major, and they're running it right off rip. Wish we could see them in it, and, it just seems like once they are eligible to be in the big dance, they'll fall off a cliff.
Yeah, I could sadly see that happening. But yeah, the Summit League's good. This is the conference that gave us Oral Roberts, and they're upset with Max Adness forever ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was a fun one. Don't have many high aspirations for Omaha. Again, they didn't win the Summit League, but will automatically get in because St. Thomas can't.
Yeah, well, they might. We'll see what happens tonight, but I have a feeling St. Thomas is going to win that game.
Yeah.
A team that I have huge aspirations for, Drake. They get in with the automatic bid. I don't have to sweat them getting a first 4 game on the committee at large bid. They punch their ticket in. What this team has done has been so impressive. This is their 3rd Missouri Valley championship in a row. But the previous 2 were with Darian DeVries and his son, Tucker DeVries. They both left for West Virginia. So they restarted their whole program, brought in Ben McCollum, spent 15 years at D2 with Northwest Missouri State, won 4 titles in those 15 years, brought in 9 players. They only have 3 players on their roster that had Division I experience before this year, and they just ran through the Missouri Valley, which is a very good mid-major. And one of those kids that played for McCollum at D2, Bennett Stritch, is averaging 19, 6, and 4 with 2.2 steals per game. He was the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year. He is lights out from 3-point range. This kid and this Drake team is going to be very interesting, especially if they get like a 5 seed that's not very good offensively. Depending on their draw, they might be a second weekend team for me.
Yeah,
Brian, I remember you being super high on them last year.
Brian's high on Drake every year.
That's what I'm saying.
Reason.
Like, I gotta ask you, are you just high on them
for 20 years
because it's Drake, or because they're actually good this year? I think we did like a whole video about them last year, saying this is my underdog team, and they lost the first weekend.
McNeese for me, but
they did lose the first weekend, but it was a very competitive game, and they lost.
And they got a tough draw, right?
They got a really tough draw, so it's going to depend on the draw. And it's almost an identical team as last year. It's like instead of DeVries, they have Stritz as their star. The difference, though, is like they ran through teams in that regular season, and then they beat Bradley, and Bradley's a very good team. I think they led the whole nation in 3-point shooting percentage, and they beat them by like 20 points, and they shut them down on defense. So I think this is the best version of Drake we've had in this 3-year run.
I think the best team was 2 years ago when they blew the 15-point lead to Miami in the first round. That Drake team was nuts, and how they blew that. Maybe not. It was like a 10 or 12-point lead with like 2 or 3 minutes to go to Miami. And that was like, they were a 12 seed that was primed to be the Cinderella run. And they absolutely folded down the stretch in that Miami game. Brian, I know you remember that game very well.
Yeah, DeVries had a couple turnovers, a couple missed shots that really cooked them.
But that team was damn good, dude.
I like the identity of this team, like not being there before, but being there before by winning titles in D2. But they have the hunger to want to do it in D1, and they've been blowing teams out. So
yeah,
they haven't had to really. And these are good teams. I like Drake a lot.
Yeah, I like him too, Brian. You know the team that I really like this year, and it's not McNeese. I'm not revealing it yet. But when we ramp up, is that your team, Brian? Are you going with Drake? I know you're not going to steal my sleeper team.
I'll have a few. I think I had a few last year. I gave out.
You love my sleeper, though, dude.
I do like your sleeper. I was actually watching him last night in their conference finale. But yeah, Drake will be one of them. I'll have a few. We'll see how the rest of the.
We'll definitely have a few. And look, I'm still on McNeese. They're going to get it done. Look, run it back year 2. Will Wade. I liked the team a lot better last year, as you remember from the videos. And hey, man, I went out on the leash. It's the one thing you'll get with me. I'm a straight shooter, and I will die on the hill. Could have died on the Jalen Hurts hill. He backed me up. And this year, hopefully, McNeese is going to back me up again because I got killed for months with that pick. And that's fine. Rightfully so. I'll sit here and face the music. But they got another shot to be great and be a Cinderella team. I'm not fading them again. No. Other people will fade them, and maybe they'll be sorry. Maybe they won't. But I'm still on McNeese, and I have one other sleeper for everybody that will come out before the madness starts.
Yeah. Less expectations on McNeese this year.
Don't wait too long. They'll try to take it away from you.
Yeah, they will. They definitely
to be fair,
will.
he kind of does have to wait to make sure they take care of business in their conference tournament.
Yeah, they have to take care of business, which I think they will. And to be fair, I think they should get a bid.
I do too. Regardless
of if they win that conference tournament or not. But yeah, we'll wait and see how that plays out and how that goes. Yeah, who else do we got, Brad? I know we didn't even get through the whole thing yet.
Yeah, we got a couple more. Before I do give out the final two, let us know in the comments who you think Matt's sleeper team is. I'm interested to see if anyone can guess.
It shouldn't be that hard if you're a college basketball guy. I feel like you can maybe make a pick. I mean, they're up there with Drake. They might even get a better seed than Drake, and that might give it away a little bit there. But yeah, let us know in the comments who you think I am taken as my sleeper, who is won't be a sleeper for long. A lot of people will figure out about them soon, but we need to make sure they get it done.
Yeah, one of the other teams Matt was high on, at least higher on than I was. Lipscomb punched their ticket, won the ASUN, beat North Alabama. It was a grinded out, close game, back and forth, punches, 3-point shots, and then Lipscomb, the home court advantage, like Matt said, just they turned it on the last couple minutes of the game, got some turnovers, and they're a very good team, and they'll be like a 13, maybe a 12 if we get a lot of bid stealers.
I don't think they're a 12 seed. I think 13, 14 is their range. 13 seems right. And again, they're deep, man. 5 guys averaging double digits with one guy averaging 20, the guy averaging 20. I forget his name. It's a long one.
Yeah.
I said it on the pod last week, but shooting 40 whatever % from 3. They're a good team. Not a great team, but a good team, well coached. They have the depth, like I said. And again, this is just going to, McNeese got screwed last year having to play Gonzaga first round. It's going to depend on who Lipscomb gets matched up against, depending on where they'll make a run. And that's why it's tough for me to go all in on a team. McNeese, I was all in in December. So that's a different story. But this will just kind of be a wait and see. And I'm going to try to be at least a little more calculated with going all in on these teams before, so I don't get as killed.
Yeah, it's all about the draw. And it's going to be very important for this final team. If they get a good draw, they can make maybe a bit of a run. It's the High Point Panthers. Shout out to all the High Point Panthers out there. I believe our guy Matt Fest's brother-in-law went to High Point, so he's probably excited.
There you go. There's a shout out for you. High Point, I don't know. Are they going to do anything? They don't strike me as a team that's going to make a run.
They actually play very, very similar style to St. Thomas, where it's just very hectic and they want to score quick. And that could work if you get a team that is kind of challenged in the scoring department. And they'll be like a 14, so they'll get those 3 seeds that aren't the elite level of teams that kind of have some issues. So if they're shooting hot, and I know I talked a lot about Boo Buie last year on Northwestern. I got another name guy for you. High Point got a guard named Keza Giffa.
Oh, yeah.
And he's averaging 15 a game, so I'll be a big Keza Giffa fan in March Madness.
He can make something happen, dude.
He has a Dame Lillard range, I guess Steph Curry range, whatever you want to call it, but he can shoot lights out of the gym.
If Bo Buie couldn't do it, gift card can't do it either.
That's awesome. But yeah, man, I mean, so low-key mid-majors, none of them are like, other than Drake, I guess, would be the team. And we still have some other cards to fall before we can really get into, who some Cinderellas are. And Brian, we talked about it months ago. Maybe it might not be a great year for Cinderellas. But who knows? We'll wait and see. Every time we say that one way or the other, there always seems to be somebody.
Yeah, I do want to say at least we're off to a good start in terms of these upsets kind of happening, because everybody but SIUE so far has been the 1 seed and won their regular season. Which is good.
You want the best team of these. Yeah, you want the best team of these low-tier conferences to make it, other than, and again, the ACC isn't low tier, but NC State won as a 10 seed last year in the conference tournament. And would they end up being an 11 seed in the big tournament? And they made the Final Four.
They just fired their coach, by the way, too. Just crazy.
Wow. Yeah, man. It's wild, which him winning the ACC tournament last year guaranteed him a 2-year extension. So he got the extension, and then they fired him.
Yeah. And
not sure. Weird move.
Yeah. Something must have happened.
And Trevequan Smith, who I believe went to your Sixers, Matt. Don't know how he's been doing.
Well, where?
Trevequan Smith, guard on NC
State. He did. G League guy at best.
Yeah, but him and DJ Burns were electric in that tournament.
DJ Burns was electric. Yeah. I don't even know what happened to that guy, but he was fun as hell to watch, man. Fun as hell. And there always seems to be a player, a team and a player that emerge. We saw it with the St. Peter's guy, Doug Eddert. We saw it with the Oakland guy shooting the threes. I'm trying to think of players.
Was it Gillespie? What was his name?
No, it was Coco.
Whoever was lighting up the threes for Oakland.
Jack Golke.
Yeah, they won that game as a 14 seed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, there's always a team and always a player that emerges.
Maybe St. Louis ends up winning the A10 and we get some Robbie Avila action.
Maybe we do, Brian. I know it's your guy.
Love me some Robbie Avila.
Before we jump off of college basketball, I mean, need to get the 2 biggest Auburn fans in the country's reaction to a home loss. Lost to Florida at home, lost to Alabama at home just recently. Alabama gets their revenge. Auburn had a chance to put the nail in the coffin on the feud and kind of just open the door back up. And now it's, hey, we beat you there, and vice versa. So evenly matched now? I don't know, man. I mean, that was tough to say.
So if you're watching on the YouTube, you see my whiteboard says relax, and my L is very large compared to my other letters, so I apologize for that. But if this was any other sport and a team won their division, won their league, and then went on and lost 2 games that were, for all intents and purposes, meaningless, no one would be panicking. And I've seen so much panic from the Auburn family over these last 2 games. They lost to a good Texas A&M team on senior night, and they just lost to a very good Alabama team that was desperate for a win coming off a losing streak. And, of course, you want to win the Iron Bowl. You always want to win that game. But Auburn played well. They didn't play well against A&M. They played very well against Alabama. It just the cards didn't fall their way. And Tahad Pettiford uncharacteristically missed some free throws. Janai Broome uncharacteristically didn't contest some shots at the rim. It happened. They're still the 1 seed in the SEC tournament. They're still going to be a 1 seed in March Madness. They should be the number 1 overall seed. Hopefully the committee gets that right. and they still have a great opportunity to win it all and cut down the nets.
Didn't Baker Mazzaro get thrown out of this game?
Yes.
He's got a problem doing that, man, in March.
He does.
That can't happen in a big tournament.
He is one of the oldest players in college basketball. I'm pretty sure he's 25 years old.
Yep.
And he's still pulling this crap, getting kicked at, throwing elbows at the back of guys' heads. Like, I can't defend that stuff. It's terrible to watch. It's not an Auburn thing to do. It's not, sportsmanlike at all. I hate watching it. It's going to hurt us down the stretch. And I mean,
he cost you guys the first round last year. And
yeah, he was
do it again this year if he doesn't clean up his act.
He was too important to us last year for that to happen, and that's why we ended up losing to Yale. He does it again. It doesn't mean we lose the game, but it definitely
could cost you.
It ruins it, dude. It definitely brings down the vibe. But I mean, Brian, you're saying relax. You're saying don't panic. I am gonna panic. Why?
Yeah.
We still haven't figured out how to rebound the basketball.
No. Auburn hasn't rebounded the basketball well during Bruce Pearl's whole tenure. They're not going to figure it out. Same way that Chad Baker-Mazara is going to stop
not getting
elbows.
Fixed.
It's just not going to get fixed, and you're just going to have to live with it. And hopefully
it doesn't cost you.
Yeah.
And we're going to die with it, Brian.
They won't. They haven't for the most part this year. It's just they're going to have to figure out how to win games without getting enough rebounds. And that's probably going to mean Dylan Cardwell not fouling and being able to be on the floor when you need to get defensive stops. And it's just something that he's going to have to do. The rebounding, the problem, it's always going to be a problem. Auburn has shown you they can win despite. That's like they have two major issues. It's rebounding and it's Chad Baker-Mazara throwing elbows. Everything else they are elite at. They arguably are the best team in the country at.
Yeah, I agree.
So if they can just try to diffuse those as much as possible, then they'll be fine. If those become glaring issues, and that might be just they need to get the right draw. Like if they run into like a Houston again or a Baylor or a tough team, it's going to be tough to beat them. But if they run into if they play Alabama on a neutral floor, they're going to win. If they play Tennessee on a neutral floor, they're going to win. If they play Florida on a neutral floor, they might lose again. So it's just getting the right draw.
Please, Will, clip that last 15 seconds and save that for the end of March so we can potentially use it.
Well, you probably only need to use it after the SEC tournament. If they lose to Bama or Tennessee in the SEC tournament, then I'll have
but if they get knocked out of March Madness after, them being the best team all year and hearing you about their resume and this and that and this, that, and the third and yada, 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 that'll be a lot more fun.
They will not get knocked out before the Sweet 16.
I just don't understand how you don't think rebounding isn't a problem.
It is a problem, right? But it's the same thing with Chad Baker-Mazara. Like, you can't harp on these things. It's just an issue, and it's part of the team.
Brian, guarantee
issues, bro. You sound like the girls. You sound like the girls who are like, "Oh, just listen to me. I don't want you to help me fix my problem. I just want you to listen to me talk about my problem."
If it's been
I don't want to talk about your problem. We're gonna fix the problem.
It's been a 7-year issue, 8-year issue. You're not gonna.
Bruce Pearl's been there for 10 years.
Right, you're acting like we've lost the rebounding totals in every game during Bruce's tenure. No.
Jack, I've been complaining about this for the last 6 years.
In all of our losses this year,
it's not going to get fixed. That's the bottom line. It's not going to get fixed. It's not. You can talk about it. You can, complain about it. And it is a problem. Is that not what we're here? Is that not what we're here to do? Talk about like Auburn's flaws and how they get beat and analysis. Like
relax.
What the fuck are we doing? Absolutely.
Right? That's what I'm trying to preach to every single one of our Auburn friends. Relax.
But the problem is there is no fix.
They're the number 1 seed for a reason. They can win all of these games. If they lose, it'll probably be because they got out rebounded. But they are the favorites to win this for a reason. Just enjoy it, okay?
This is an issue you need to bring up with Bruce Pearl. Write an email to Bruce.
I need to take a break.
Look, man, I mean, it's going to be tough, dude. I think it would be great for the podcast if Auburn gets bounced from the tournament because of a lack of rebounding, especially after the 5-minute discourse we just had. So I hope for the sake of
if they get bounced, that'll probably be the reason. But it's just like it's something that's not going to get fixed. And I've been
Which
harping on
why
it for so
though,
long.
dude? Baker Mazzaro, the Cartwell or whatever, and Janai Broom, like they should be elite rebounders.
Janai Broom
Yes, they should.
Dylan Cardwell is an elite rebounder, especially offensively. The issue is he fouls at least 3 times by the time there's 15 minutes left in the game, and then he can't really be on the floor, and he also can't space the floor, so Bruce doesn't play him. Janai Broom, my issue with him has always been like he blocks shots and he can get rebounds, but when you need him to protect the rim and just alter shots, we saw this in the Mark Series floater. He was non-existent. Just step up and try to get a hand in his face. He's just a very weird inside presence where if you just look at the stat sheet, it looks like he had a great defensive game and he had 5 blocks, but at the same time, he'll give up an easy bunny off an offensive rebound and not contest it.
Brian, are you guaranteeing Auburn to get out of the first weekend?
Yes. They won't lose to an 8 seed. We're a 9 seed. They're good enough to not.
And they'll beat the 16 seed.
Yeah, no one on that 8-9 line is going to out physical Auburn.
Okay.
Honestly, no one. There's probably 10 teams that can even up in terms of physicality with Auburn. There's probably 5 that would have there's probably 3 that would have the advantage over Auburn in that category.
I tend to agree. I think they'll get out of the first weekend, but it's more fun when we put a guarantee next to it and slap your name next to it.
Yeah, what do you want me to guarantee here?
Oh, get out of the first weekend.
Yeah, but
you already did.
Okay, I guess the stakes is just me being wrong.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I'm guaranteeing you at least an Elite 8. They're not going to get bounced before the Sweet 16.
Yeah, and you're Jack's bringing up legitimate concerns, and you're saying, hey, it's fine.
I'm telling you,
we're good enough to get past our flaws.
I'm telling you,
no team will ever be perfect. We're good enough to our team is so good we outweigh our negatives
until the Elite 8, and they're gonna have to figure out how.
And they're gonna play Florida and be rattled.
And then we're gonna have to figure out how to rebound.
And they won't see Florida until the
but apparently we can't fix that. So we're just gonna lose at the Elite 8. I guess
they're not going to lose. I'm trying to say the Elite 8 is the first time they can foreseeably be in a tough position where they might lose. They're going to get to the Elite 8, and once you're there, you can win a national championship if you play 3 great games. That's all they need to do. They're not going to get bounced early. I'm sick of hearing this. Oh, they can't rebound. They can't. CBM's going to get tossed. They're going to get bounced in the first round. That's not going to happen. They're an elite basketball team.
They're very elite, and they got bounced last year, so that's why the talk of it is there. But I agree. It's a different team this year.
We were a very good basketball team last year, and they made an example out of us.
They were a very good basketball team last year with terrible guard play. This year they have elite guard play, and that's what wins in March.
You want to know what else wins? Getting the refs call. And if Chad is going to be doing this crazy stuff, we're not going to get the favor.
That's something I think needs to be cleaned up more than the rebounding issue. I mean, if this guy gets thrown out of a game, especially wasn't last year like super early he got tossed?
Oh, it was the first couple minutes, yeah.
Yeah, so
17-minute mark.
Yeah, that's not what you need in the first round or any round for that matter.
Auburn will be fine. Relax.
All right.
They're probably going to go win the SEC tournament, and then everyone will be all jolly and good again.
It is time now for the Michael of the Week up here in Views from Section 400, Brian's premier segment of the week. Brian, who is your Michael of the Week, man?
Yeah, I've been kind of holding this one in the holster, hoping just it would go away.
Holster.
And then having to use it if there was nothing else in the week. It hasn't gone away. If anything, the story's gotten more in the headlines. Stephen A. Smith's bid to run for president in 2028 is starting to become a real thing.
Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah, for whatever it's worth, he is a betting favorite on that weird political betting site. I forget what it's called. What's that going to be? 2028 election is going to be wild, man. I mean, it's going to be 2 candidates that we've probably never seen before.
He just went on The Tonight Show and just started talking about how he's excited to run for president. It's like, I thought this was a joke.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Trump started in 2016. Everyone thought it was a joke, and he fucking won. So,
Yeah.
What it seems like a joke, that's boded well for these guys.
Just can't imagine Stephen A. in the
Nobody
Oval
could
Office.
imagine Trump, and he's done it twice.
Yeah, I guess Trump was on TV, but like I've watched Stephen A. yell about LeBron James on my TV for like 20 years.
And you've
I
seen
feel
all
like
the nut shit Trump has said too, dude. That doesn't matter.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Look, dude,
I guess this takes him out of the running for the new red zone job.
it definitely does. Definitely does. He's gonna have to
Would
gear
you
up and
would you rather have Stephen A. Smith run the country or run red zone?
That's actually a hard choice.
Yeah. Would you rather the government or the red zone be fucked up?
I might sound really out of touch, but I think I would care more if the red zone would affect me more.
Tough question.
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess run the
The hard
country.
hard hitting
Yeah.
questions here.
Let him run the country and have him make a law that forces Scott Hansen to do red zone.
There you go. You know what we would get? We would get the Monday after the Super Bowl as a holiday.
Oh yeah, we'd get some fun stuff. We would get some fun stuff for sure. But yeah, interesting stuff there, Brian. You're gonna have to keep us updated on the Stephen A. Smith
correspondent.
Yeah, the Stephen A. Smith campaign trail.
I got you.
Thank you very much, Jack. Do you have a Michael of the week for us, man?
I do.
What do you got?
Funny
What do you
enough,
got?
I do. So you guys know Auburn star Tahad Pettiford. He recently signed an NIL deal with Under Armour.
Interesting.
Brian, the reason this is my Michael is because it confuses the heck out of me. Didn't we just switch from an
Yeah.
Under Armour school to a Nike school?
Yeah.
So how does that work? Is he allowed to wear Under Armour because it's like an NIL deal, even though we're a Nike school now? Like, I'm sorry, just clear this up for me.
So I don't think he'll be allowed to wear like Currys during games,
Okay.
but I think he can like be a brand ambassador on all of his posts and like walk around campus in Under Armour stuff and go to practice in Under Armour stuff. But yeah, I don't. That was very odd because especially not only are they going to Nike, but they're dropping Under Armour for Nike.
Right, yeah, we've been an Under Armour school forever, and as long as I can remember at least, and now we're going to Nike this year, and that's the year that Tahad gets this deal. It's super weird to me.
Yeah, it's the one good news is I didn't look into. I actually don't know if they released the details of the deal, but it could say, hey, if you're getting the bag from Under Armour, just stay in the plane for another year. No need for the NBA, and I would love to have him back.
Oh,
No need.
I think there's a good shot that he stays for next year.
For sure. I do have to jump off here. I can give you my Michael of the week, and then you guys can continue to discuss yours and then do NL West. Wasn't anything crazy, though, but you guys see Xavier Worthy got arrested on Friday night?
Yeah, and apparently
Yeah.
the charges are being dropped already.
Are they being dropped? I saw this was today
Wow.
that he got arrested for, I mean, that's wild, for impeding the breathing or circulation of a family or house member is
Yeah.
what he got arrested for. And they're dropping those charges? That's pretty serious.
That may be wrong, but it's either they're dropping the charges or the NFL has said like it won't affect his eligibility to play.
Yeah.
So either way, he's gonna be fine.
Well, punishable by 2 to 10 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. So
maybe they did drop the charges then.
If he's in prison, there's no way. But again, yeah, just thought it was pretty nuts that this guy's 21 years old and he's strangling family members. I mean, dude, he scored 9 touchdowns this year. He didn't quite get 1,000 yards, but had 9 touchdowns, scored in the Super Bowl, and was a legitimate weapon for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, not the offseason distraction that the Chiefs organization need.
It's just one after the other for their team. We had Rashee Rice the year before. We've had Kareem Hunt in the past. There's probably other names I'm forgetting right now. Patrick Mahomes' dad, his brother, his wife. I mean, it just seems like it
It's
never
nuts,
ends
man.
with the Chiefs in this offseason stuff,
I think
or out of the office stuff.
I think Larry Johnson had a thing forever ago.
He
It's
definitely
that
did.
meme of like the guy with the girl and then looking back. It's like NFL running backs, a great career, and then just hitting women or making like
Getting arrested.
yeah, it's like dude, just you have a great life. There's just figure it out. Go play video games. Go on Twitch and
Yeah.
stream video games while you're not doing
21 years old and is probably pretty primed to make some nice money in the NFL for the foreseeable future and already jeopardizing that after just his rookie year. So yeah, that happened over the weekend. And on a completely other off-topic side note, Noah Lyles and Tyreek Hill look set to race each other finally on the track. And Tyreek Hill has tweeted out that the track world is going to be in shambles.
How long is the race?
I don't know, but I think it'd be fun, man. I mean, they've had some back and forth for a while now. Like, I think they got to let him race.
Yeah, if it's a 40, Tyreek might have a shot. If it's like 100, Tyreek's gonna get cooked.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it'll never actually come and happen, but it'd be fun. I think it'd be really fun. Noah Lyles seems very confident, and Tyreek Hill is just as confident. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it seems something right up Mr. Beast's alley.
Mr. Beast, and they can make probably a hell of a lot of money off of that somehow, some
if
way.
he hosts it, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's the Michael of the week. I'll let Brian and Jack handle the NOS. I have to jump off here to move some furniture. So no, not going to enjoy my Sunday night, going to work. But you guys enjoy the NOS preview. I don't need to be here to hype up the Dodgers. We already know what they can do. Let Jack and Brian do that, but I will catch you all in the next one. I'm Matt, Jack and Brian. We'll take you right into the preview.
Oh.
What?
Oh. All right. So Jack, we were gonna talk about the NL West, but I think it's safe to say we both think the Dodgers are gonna win that.
Yes.
So let's talk about this. We got some breaking news. The
More
Pittsburgh
breaking news.
Steelers have traded and signed for DK Metcalf. 5-year deal.
Wow.
So they don't also have a quarterback at the moment. I think Russ and Justin Fields aren't under contract, but they have a wide receiver to go along with George Pickens.
That's big news.
Yeah, and I'm happy we're actually still recording, so this didn't hit right after we got off the podcast.
Yeah, right. Isn't that they saw Matt got off,
like,
and then they released this. Maybe that's how it works.
Maybe.
All right, so yeah, the Steelers were a great team last year. Their defense carried them to a playoff spot, but their offense was horrendous. It was George Pickens, who, when healthy, was awesome, but he was hurt for a while. I mean, Najee Harris, and then the other back they have back there, Warren, yeah, I was just saying he's on my fantasy team, but he didn't play too much either. He was hurt on and off as well. So they had a lot of injuries on that front, had no depth. So DK Metcalf, not only is he a star that you're adding there, he's a huge piece of depth that you're adding there. They need to figure out the quarterback position, but they could absolutely make another run at being AFC North contenders this year.
Yeah, what if they go after Donald? And
Maybe
then you draft a running back? What do they pick? They probably pick late though, right?
What pick do they have in the draft?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. We stopped talking about NFL. I canceled out of that tab.
So they picked 21. They probably have to move up. But like, can you imagine Ashton Genty in Pittsburgh?
I would think that they deal Warren or Najee in that situation.
I don't know if Najee might be a free agent. I think he is a free agent. What if you trade up in the draft, grab Ashton Genty, and then sign some O-lineman, draft some O-lineman, put Sam Darnold under center? Like you have Sam Darnold, George Pickens, Ashton Genty, and DK Metcalf to go along with that defense?
That'd be pretty elite.
Could win the division.
You need the quarterback.
I mean, we saw Darnold do it with weapons. He won the North. And the Vikings, I mean, they had a good defense, but not a great defense, and their O-line wasn't really great. So if the Steelers defense is really
They
good, you
were
address the
though.
O-line.
They were though. Like the Vikings did have a great defense, and they did have a great O line.
Yeah, but maybe the Steelers is just a bit better.
I don't think you're getting anywhere with Sam Darnold. I think we saw it. I think we saw what we saw last year. I think we saw an awesome team with a mid quarterback who is being elevated by that awesome team. But once it comes playoff time, that quarterback needs to play up to its standards, and he didn't.
Okay, what if you throw Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
You get Aaron Rodgers, you draft Ashton Genty, and you have DK Metcalf, George Pickens in that defense.
Yes, that is disgusting.
I think you can win. Art might be able to take down the Chiefs with that team.
Yes, definitely.
I am trying to speak this into existence so he stays away from New York, but I think it'd be a great fit. And you seem like you think it'd be a great fit too.
I do. I really because I'm in on Rodgers still. I know he had his struggles last year in New York and the year before that he didn't even play, but I'm still in on Rodgers. I think Davante Adams being locked in to LA actually might help Rodgers. There's no distractions. There's no one coming for help. This is who you got, and that's what makes DK. I think maybe all the stars are aligning right now. Maybe the Steelers said we have to go get DK and bring in a receiver like this in order to get a quarterback like Rodgers to come here. Because I think they can re-sign Wilson if they want to. They can re-sign Fields if they want to. They can probably go get Darnold, Daniel Jones, any of these guys. But to bring in like a Rodgers, I think you needed to bring in DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I think that would I can picture that offense in my brain, and it'd be a fun. And the Steelers haven't had a fun offense in forever. And you just
Was
pick
Arthur Smith still their OC?
yes. You're
Might
out on the
change.
Steelers again.
Yeah, I'm out on the Steelers again.
I think Arthur Smith is a fine OC. He's not a good head coach. They were an all right offense last year.
Yeah, no, they were a fine offense last year. They were very limited by their quarterback play.
And you're not limited, hopefully, with Aaron Rodgers there. I don't know. It could be a fun fit. But we will give the people a quick NL West preview. Very quick, very abbreviated because the Dodgers are going to win this division. But we'll start with the Diamondbacks, friend of the program, Matt Gallagher's favorite team. They lead it off with Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, arguably the second best second baseman in baseball, hitting two. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., I think I just butchered that first name. I don't care. Left field. Josh Naylor, who they got from the Guardians at cleanup. Edwin Hirio Suarez, definitely butchered that too, batting fifth. Gabriel Moreno, who's been a breakout candidate at catcher for the last 3 years, hitting sixth. DH is ugly with Pavin Smith and Randall Grichuk. Hitting eighth is Jake McCarthy, who will get you about 50 steals while hitting 210. And hitting ninth is Geraldo Perdomo, who for some reason stole an All-Star game bid from Francisco Lindor. I think that was last year. In the rotation, they have Corbin Burns, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Brandon Pfaadt. They might be a playoff team, but they're not as good as any team in the NL East, which is probably why they won't be a playoff team.
I mean, they're definitely not as good as the Dodgers in this division.
No.
I don't know why we brought up the NL East here, but oh, are you saying for the
For the wild
wild
card,
card?
yeah.
Okay. I mean, no, I don't think they're better than the big three in the NL East. Whether it's the Mets or the Braves or the Phils who end up winning the division, all three of them are going to be there. So yeah, maybe there isn't any room for the Diamondbacks, but I still think that they're a good ball club. I think they can make some noise.
Yeah, actually, I do take that back because there are the three wild card spots now, and I don't know if any team from the Central is better than them. So maybe they are that third wild card team. They did lead the league in runs last year and missed out on the playoffs just because they couldn't pitch, and now they get Corbin Burns there. So maybe I
I think it'll be. I think there's a shot that it will be the Diamondbacks. I think there's a better than better than 0% chance.
I'll give you that. They're going to need Corbin Carroll to bounce back. He had a rough year last year. But if he does, then that lineup could be gross. I don't know how Josh Naylor fits in that. They have a lot of power guys without a lot of on base. So we'll see. Next, we can get to the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, Will Smith, my old friend Michael Conforto. There's always a former Met in one of these previews. Tommy Edman and Andy Pages.
You could not have sounded more excited while reading that lineup.
Dude, I hate this team. I just they threw 2 bullpen games against the Mets in the NLCS, and they still have to scratch and claw just to win 2 games against the Dodgers. It was just what they're doing is unfair. They're going to create the lockout because all these players hate that they're all taking deferred money. It's gross. I hate Shohei Ohtani. It's the most hateable superstar, at least in my brain, which sucks because he's so good at baseball. I wish I could enjoy him, but
and why do you hate him so much? Is it because of the contract?
Because of the contract, because he's so good. And I've been yelling at the MLB for not marketing their superstars for years, and they finally market one, but now he's the only one they market. Which, I mean, he is a global superstar, so good for them, but I don't like him. So it's a great lineup. Then we get to the rotation, which is arguably even better with Blake Snell, Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, Roki Sasaki, also big one-finger salute to him, and Tony Gonsolin. And I'm surprised Gonsolin's their 5th. I thought they had another guy there. But, maybe the rotation isn't as highly touted as everyone's saying it is. Yamamoto,
well, I don't think you didn't say Kershaw.
Yeah, he might not. He might not be healthy yet, / may not win the job over Gonsolin.
Really? Kershaw might be dusted?
Yeah, he's getting up there in age.
Yeah, that is a nasty rotation though. Is that Glasnow guy? Is he from Tampa?
Yeah, he was on Tampa for a while.
Yeah, he was nasty down there.
Yeah, he's really good. He also has injury problems. Blake Snell's very good, also has injury problems. Yamamoto's kind of yet to prove it, but he has gross stuff. And Roki Sasaki, of course, the rookie.
Is Yamamoto the pitcher where before the first pitch of the game, the announcer is like
no hitter watch.
No hitter watch. I know we haven't seen him throw one pitch yet, but no hitter watch. And then first pitch of the game gets taken 360 over center field.
Yeah, Jazz Chisholm took him speed. But yeah, I hope Roki Sasaki sucks. He might be the guy I'm praying on a downfall the most in Major League Baseball, just because he puts on this whole show, the whole offseason, going to get teams to meet with him, and he just ends up going to play with his friends for the Dodgers. For $6 million. It's gross. I hate this ball club. I hope they somehow don't win this division, but they will. We go to the Giants with Lamont Wade Jr., great fantasy baseball utility guy, Willie Adames, Jung-Ho Lee, Matt Chapman, Elliot Ramos, Mike Yastrzemski, Tyler Fitzgerald, another old friend, Wilmer Flores, and Patrick Bailey playing catcher. This is a team that Buster Posey assembled. He is their new president of baseball operations.
Shout out Buster.
In the rotation, they have Logan Webb. Did not know Justin Verlander was a San Francisco Giant until right now. Robbie Ray, Jordan Hicks, and Kyle Harrison. So a lot of youth, and then Verlander and Webb are the 2 veterans. They might stay around. They'll be frisky. This isn't a playoff team, I don't think.
I was gonna say the Giants are. They've always been a scrappy organization. A lot of respect for them. So I think that they're going to hang around and probably be better than they look on paper, but they're not a playoff team for me either.
No, and I do really like Kyle. I have trouble saying the name Kyle. Kyle Harrison at their 5. I think he could have a good year, but just not enough star power in that lineup. And then we get to the Padres with Luis Arraez, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill. Ooh. should have won Rookie of the Year, arguably, instead of Paul Skeens last year. He had a great year. Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth, Connor Joe is there now. He was on the Pirates for a while. Jason Hayward made his way to San Diego, and Elias Diaz, who they acquired from the Rockies. And I think I wrote the Rockies should trade Elias Diaz to the Padres way back before last season. So I'm happy I called that. In the rotation, they have Dylan Cease, Michael King, Yu Darvish, Nick Pivetta, and Randy Vasquez. Again, pretty good team. Not as good as the Dodgers. I think it's going to be Padres versus Diamondbacks for that final wild card spot.
I think me and you were on the exact same page.
And the Rockies are also in this division. Brendan Doyle, Darrow Estrada, Ezekiel Tovar. Chris Bryant's still hanging around in the MLB. Ryan McMahon, Nolan Jones.
Hold on. After all of the players you've named so far, Chris Bryant's the one that you're like, he's still hanging around in this league. You just said Verlander. You just said Yu Darvish. Like,
yeah, but they've kind of been around at least a little bit. Chris Bryant has been hurt every other year and just hasn't really been relevant since he won the World Series with the Cubs.
but like I'm saying, like Verlander was winning World Series like 3 years before that.
Yeah, but he had the big contract with the Mets, and then he went back to the Astros, and he's still been like in the know. Chris Bryant just kind of wasting away.
Okay. Clearly, you got some little personal vendetta going on with Chris Bryant.
I don't have a personal vendetta. I just listen. I'm happy for him, man. He's still playing. Then you have Ryan McMahon, who will definitely be traded by the deadline. Nolan Jones, shout out Bristol, I think. No, Holy Ghost prep. Michael Toglia, Jordan Beck, and Jacob Stallings. I have no idea who Jordan Beck is, but he apparently will start at DH for them.
Yeah, the Rockies are not a good ball club.
No, at least they get to play at Coors Field, so their stats will be inflated a little bit. Their rotation, this is where it gets really bad. Kyle Freeland, Ryan Feltner, Austin Gomber, Herman Marquez, who might be 40 years old by now, and Antonio Senzatella, who also might be 40 years old. That's an ugly team.
Yeah, they're not good. No, they're the Pirates of the NL Central. They're the Marlins of the NL East. I mean, it's just there's some bad teams, bad clubs.
They might be competing with the White Sox for the worst records. They might be that bad.
You think they're worse than the Marlins?
Yeah, the Marlins have young players that are fun. This team's kind of just gross. I guess Nolan Jones is a young, fun player. Tovar. Besides that, just aging veterans that are praying they get traded at the deadline. But that's the NL West.
How about the Angels?
As in worse?
Yeah, who's worse? The Angels?
No, because the Rockies don't have a Mike Trout. At least the Angels fans get to watch Mike Trout.
No, that's very fair. That's like the Bears versus the Giants conversation we had yesterday.
Yeah, pretty much.
Last
podcast. But yeah, now I'm in a bad mood because I just had to relive how good the Dodgers are. Go join our bracket poll. It's on our social medias. Brackets locked next Sunday. So a week from today. Slasher Sunday live show next Sunday. And it'll be part of the podcast. We'll just probably have the Michael of the Week and some headlines and then our selection show. So that'll be fun. We'll have some writers on. You'll get to see both Nicks, hopefully, and Colin. And hopefully Colin's not too obnoxious after his Alabama Crimson Tide beat Auburn.
Now I have faith that he'll keep the obnoxious to a minimum.
Yeah, we'll see how the SEC tournament goes. But, yeah, Brian and Jack in Section 400. Hopefully Matt's doing well, moving furniture. That's all you get from me. I hope Shohei Ohtani hits 200.
Cut the shit, Chad.